Okay, so when we're talking about network buys, what exactly is that? So here's some good things about it. So you're buying banner space across hundreds or even thousands of websites at a time, which is really awesome. So whereas we're talking about intermediate buys and you have to go through and you're going to be selecting the different ones, and although it's a great system and platform, you might do 5, 10 that way. You're not doing hundreds or thousands of different websites on that self-serve platform because that would be very overwhelming. So in this regard, yes, it's scaling it up. And like it says, it's a huge scale. This is going to be, rolling out massive campaigns. And the cool part of it is a gold mine if you know the numbers and you have a high converting offer. So you always want to be starting with those direct or intermediate buys, testing them out, doing your landing pages, your split testing, all the stuff we've been talking about and covering. Once you have something that's a really solid track record, that's where you want to go ahead and scale it. And this is where you'd come and bring it into these network buys and really go across all sorts of different websites and really get your message out. Cons. The big thing is, well, there's a few of them. It costs a lot of money to do these. So if you are not sure about what you're doing, you don't have a super high converting offer, things like that, you can lose a lot of money and you can literally lose thousands of dollars just like that. So definitely that's why master the other ones first, then go into this. But at least this kind of gives you an idea of where you can take things if you so choose. The other, some other, cons in this regard is that you're not going to know exactly what websites your ads are running on, which kind of goes down to the next one, which is not always on relevant websites. So if you're doing obviously direct or intermediate, you're making the decision on what websites to go ahead and run your ads on. In this regards, you're on, hundreds or thousands of different websites. So you really don't know what website, if it's even connected. You could be selling a shoe and you're advertised on a barefoot website, kind of like that. So you don't really have a sense of it. So you definitely, you would want to be working with the different networks to do these things, but it's not a guarantee, and it's really hard for you to know exactly where your ad's going to be placed. And then that being said, it's also difficult to optimize because since you don't know where your banner ad is displayed, it's hard to tell, if it's relevant. If you suddenly, when you're doing the intermediate or direct buys and you have an offer that's doing really well, and then you roll it out to these, a network buy and its volumes, and suddenly you're on, hundreds of different websites, but like I said, you don't know exactly which one it's on, you might, your numbers might go down and it might be very difficult to get them back up because you don't know what's being displayed. So, just something to keep in mind, and it's very hard in that regards. You can do split testing and things like that, but to really know, it's more that target avatar aspect of where you really know who your customer is and what they're like based on the websites. You lose that information doing network buys because you don't have a sense of who's actually on which websites because you don't know which websites you're on. Okay. But the cool part with these parts, and just some kind of tips with there. So like I said, you definitely want to be an expert at your direct and intermediates for at least 6 months and really having a sense of those. So the cool thing, yeah, is it's awesome for scaling. So this is kind of, definitely step 3 when you're talking about banners, but just something to keep in mind with that. And just some things probably going over your head right now, but if for those advanced users that are ready to go ahead and do this, these are just some logistics. You want to do something called run even delivery. So you don't want your ad to be showing, literally they could do all of your traffic in one day. Oh my goodness. Talk about an expensive day. So you want them to be able to distribute your ads over a certain length of time. Also being able to have it's called an IO, or an insertion order, kind of like your contract to go ahead and get it. This, like I said, is much different ballpark. Even with intermediate, you're clicking, you're buying, it's over. No, this is, much more of a contract type of thing. And in that regards, you want to make sure that your contract has an out clause, which means, although ideally you've done all of your research, you know that, your offer did really well with, a couple directs, then you went to intermediate, your offer's still doing well, you've split tested, you're getting those numbers up, it's doing really fantastically. You decide to make the decision to go into network buys to, get your message out there over big things, and suddenly nothing's converting. You're getting no opt-ins, no sales, no anything. So this is why you want to make sure in that contract, that insertion order, that you have an out clause. So if, for some reason you do all of this stuff and it's not working, that you can cancel it without getting penalized. So otherwise, if you make a 30-day agreement, you might have to be running that and spending those thousands and thousands of dollars, and you're taking a giant loss. So make sure you have that out clause. It depends, there can be, 24 hours notice, 48 hours, 7 days, even 30 days. It just depends on that. But make sure you have and also are aware of what your out clause is, so that way, you can stop your losses before you have a massive casualty on your hands. You also, like we keep saying, know your numbers. So you want to be tracking everything that was going from your direct and intermediate. So that way, the idea is that you want to use these network buys in order to leverage yourself and also present your numbers and get your billing and paying off of what your results are. So that's just something to keep in mind. Just excellent tips of the trade. Otherwise, if you don't ask for it, it's not going to happen. So just make sure in that regard, that's why we're tracking numbers. And if you scale it up, you can actually use those numbers to help, navigate when you're going through network buys. Okay. Not that you're going to be doing this right now, but here is, some networks that we recommend if you're going to be going on those. So you guys can read those, and those are the different networks, like I said, that we use and or recommend. Cool. Okay.